Hey,
Open
hey, everybody! What is going down?
Morgan. Hi.
Woo! Woo! Hold on. There it is. Welcome to the Gospel of Two Wheels, where the coffee's hot, the bikes are fast, and Woody is here to be completely ridiculous, which I'm excited
We can
about.
only hope that that is
Yeah,
what happens.
we can only hope. So you got Bruce Kennedy, Scott Copland, Stephen Becky Peterson, Dave Brayman, Who's the Islander, Jared Bayless, Sawyer Llewellyn, 5280 James. What is going down? Woody, how are you, my man?
Dude, I'm still not moved in. I don't know which is the right way to show you literally the cluster F that is behind me that is the office, right? Like my wife is like, "Is it time yet? Like can we do this with the office?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not. I don't have the capacity yet to care about this room."
But
But yeah, I'm like, but it's to a point where I'm about to get back on the bike, right? We've been moving. We moved back in August. We've been I guess you could say we've been moving in, and then I've been working on the product, right? The Utility Can Caddy. So it has just been like
how
full throttle. But I'm
don't
excited
you
to get back on the bike this weekend.
don't you also work at home? Don't you? Do you have another office for that?
I
Or you
have a
just?
well, I work from home, so this is like the office where this computer does all of the things.
Oh,
So
so
when
with
I get
all with that in
yeah,
the
when I get
background,
done with this, I just I turn this screen off and then turn on the other screen, and we're like game on.
I like it. Let's see. We got Tom the Battle Act, Richard Orr, dude named Eric,
Ooh, I love that
Brian
name.
Lee.
Where's Tom the Bottle Axe from?
Tom the Battle Axe. Where are you from? I think he's from Australia. No, where are you from, Tom? I forget. You're from
That's a
somewhere
great
awesome.
name.
Steve Stanton. Are you related to Jeff Stanton?
Ooh,
West Eats. Let's see. Richard's waiting on the rain to stop. So, by the way, quick Thursday night ride is at Dry Creek in the unnecessarily large parking lot. So come on out,
what
and
does
it'll be
that
good,
mean? Like that sounds like people know what that means, but to me,
dude.
what's the
So
is
it is like you, dude. The parking lot is you could quite literally land an airplane in the length of the park. It's so freaking giant. In my opinion, it is a perfect example of how the government can screw up and spend money on anything. The it's yeah, it's ridiculous, and it's kind of a really long story. It basically started with they want like the local club wanted to put a race on out there, but the big holdup was there was no parking for big enough for a race. So they lobbied for it, whatever. The person at the time who was working for the BLM was like way into it, so she put in for monies and environmental impact and all the things. Right, it just went nuts, got it done, and then COVID hit, so they couldn't do it right away. And then she moved on from, and so it all got approved. She moved on to the Forest Service. New guy comes in, decides he's going to make his mark, and does the parking lot like no joke 2 or 3 times bigger than what she was planning, and it's absolutely nuts. I'm gonna try to remember to bring my drone today and like fly it over it. You cannot believe how big this thing is. If someone commented if that's ever full, I don't want to be riding there. It would mean there's like thousands of people out there on the trails. It's absolutely nuts.
but that is part of Peach Valley, or you said
No,
Dry Creek. So what is that part of?
it's part of Dry Creek, which is on the west side of the highway. So the other side of Highway 50 from Peach Valley. So it's on the
Okay, but that's not the plateau.
no,
Also,
it's before the plateau. So it's in between us and the plateau. So it's like you go west, you go into a little more of a desert area, like a little desert sandstone, rocky, gnarly, cool, like rock crawler trails, trialsy kind of area, and then that uplift goes up onto the plateau.
nice. Well, it sounds like you're going to be doing hard enduro. So please video.
Yeah, we will. We'll
Um,
definitely. I got and ooh, I you can't see it, but on my forks on my bike, I put the Del Saggio spheres in last night, and I'm
oh,
telling you, those are legit. Like I mean, I haven't ridden with them, but like just the parts and the quality,
yeah.
absolutely some of the nicest stuff I've ever seen.
Now
Um,
is that like a gold valve kind of deal? Like, what is the part that you put in?
no, Man, I don't have my other one. It's a whole cartridge. It's a drop-in cartridge.
Okay, drop-in. Oh, that was the picture of the red cartridge that you put dropped in.
Yeah.
Okay, I never caught the name of that, so that's why I was like, "What are you talking about?"
That's why I put they're Italian. So I've got Mussolini mixed with Hitler, and now I just need Hirohito, and we can launch World War III.
Yeah, literally, like that bike will implode, maybe explode. I don't know. It's a nuclear weapon waiting to happen.
Yeah, no, they're cool. It's another closed cartridge system. It's actually very much a copy, I guess. I don't know who came up with it first, of the old WP fork that had the nitrogen bladder in it up in the top as a spring.
Yep.
Where the compression stack is. So it's that it's cool. And I always like those forks. I really like those forks a lot. I had them on my 12-300 because you could tune the bladder, and because on the 6500 kits and the KYBs and all that, you can change the ICS, internal compression spring, and that makes differences in how the bike handles and all that stuff. It has to deal more with like the plushness of the ride. But you got to take everything apart, and with the little air pump, you can just pump it up, pump it down, let it out, whatever. And Steve Stanton, it does sound expensive because it is.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I did not have to pay for them. I was very fortunate to have them given to me. But yes, they're $1,500 for the parts, and then you got to buy springs too. So it's
and they're what is, I don't know the right word, like dedicated springs, like they're like their springs also. So you got to
no, actually, I was able to use the springs out of my 6500 kit. Worked just fine.
Okay, well that's good. At least
yeah, it's a certain length. So like if you had the Explorers, and because you can put this kit into Explorer forks or anything else, they make different ones for different forks because the adapter is different on the bottom, but but if you had like Explorer forks, you'd have to buy new springs because they're
proprietary. That's the word I was looking for. Like like people build like a proprietary ecosystem. You're like, cool, I want to use this, but I got to buy 4 extra things just to then like.
Oh yeah, no, that's how this whole freaking thing is. The MJ Weeby Racing staging area, that's like 3 times the Weeby Racing staging area for an event. So
wow,
MJ, you need to put on a race at Dry Creek. I don't know what that looks like. It's probably going to have to be more like a sprint enduro or an enduro style because it's not a lot of like loopy long enough back to the staging area. It's like staging area, then you go. It's like a few miles to where the trails are. So, but MJ, I think you already looked at it. I need to take you riding for my version of that tour out there. Red Desert Mule. Man. By the way, Tom the Battle Axe is from Pennsylvania, not Australia or New Zealand.
Now we know. And now we know.
Yeah, absolutely. And West East says, I hope I never see that lot full. But Woody, here we are. We're here to talk to you because you're awesome. And I love you. But then also, we're here to talk a little bit about your new product.
Dude, yeah.
So let's hear about it.
Yeah, so
I'm gonna eat my burrito while you're talking.
Yeah, that's it, right? This is probably the worst way to be able to showcase it, but I really like the logo, which was designed. It is the Utility Can Caddy. So, we all use these different types of 5-gallon utility jugs, and in the long run, being an enduro racer 2 years ago, I did exactly what I always do, and I duct tape all of my shit to the can. It gets taken to the fuel stop. I get there, and I use my things, and I go on. Well, at the Shady Burrow 2 years ago, one of my bags was ripped open and half my crap was gone. And it really pissed me off. Not that I was pissed at anyone. It was just an upsetting moment because it's like, it's the Shady Burrow. Like, I need as much, fuel I can to finish this thing. And so on the way home, I just literally was like, okay, how do you solve this problem? And I started talking to people and calling people and everything. And one of them was my buddy, Adam Dick, who runs Demata Creative, just because he makes things, he makes products. And we started like going, and we were like, came up with this caddy idea. Not that we're caddy people, but CADDY, and that literally like over 2 years ago was the start of the idea of the Utility Can Caddy. And then it's like, once I got the first prototype and started using it, I think it was the second prototype I had at the Shady Burrow the next year for 2022. Like I never took it off. Like I kind of thought it was going to be something that I would use for racing only. And then what I realized is like, holy shit, like I like this because I never forget my oils. I never forget extra gloves or extra goggles or any of my nutrition stuff that can kind of stay off the shelf, on the shelf. And it just like lives in the caddy now. And I freaking love it. And so I was like, I have to figure, after about that year, I was like, I have to figure out how to bring this to market. I'm not a product designer, right? Manufacturer. Like that's not been my life. But it was like, I want to see this to fruition. And so to have saved the money and gone through 5 different prototypes to get to the point where we kind of have what we have in the Utility Can Caddy, like I'm just stoked I did it, right? Like the pre-order is out now, right? Like in on the shop, but it's like I don't have the product. Like I had to order 500 of these things. Like you don't do this like and get 10. You know what I mean? Like unless you want to pay $600 per prototype, kind of a thing. So like I was like, holy crap! Like I gotta get in there and do this. So that's kind of like where the idea for the Utility Can Caddy came from. Where we're at, trying to be super quick about it, and yeah, I don't know if you have questions. I don't know. Like it's, yeah.
I do have questions. First of all, I'm going to your shop because I want to add the link in here. Hold on, I'm doing it while we're speaking.
Okay,
I'm gonna add.
And I agree, Joe Foster. That burrito does look really good.
Dude, the burrito was epic. Like I just made that.
You ate that so fast.
I know. I'm so hungry. I just made that this morning. Was running to the car, and everybody, my whole family's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm hungry, and I gotta go be famous, and I gotta." So
I have an internet radio show. I need to leave.
Yeah, I know, and I knew that you were gonna be here, and we would be able to, I would not have to talk the whole time, so I could eat. Yeah, talk about the K. And by the way,
you're going to give me a chance to talk. Well, I saw a couple people ask about showing it, so I'm going to kind of try to do that. I know my microphone's in the way and crap. So
here, watch this, guys. I'm going to take me out of the way and give Woody way more space. There you go.
Oh, okay, cool. Thank you. Well, so in the long run, what we've got on the front is a MOLLE panel. So really, these PALS straps, I liked the idea. I was going to do 4 pockets all the way around. But honestly, once I got there, I was like, wait a minute. Like, this could be that spot that people could put anything and everything that they want. Because I liked how diverse, like, that tactical market is when it comes to MOLLE accessories. And I know that dirt bikers like to carry guns and shit like that, too. Like, in the long run, like, you could get one of those MOLLE straps and strap your gun to this. You could do flashlights. I do a trail-bound bar bag and now a med kit, thanks to you, Morgan. I realized that we need to be a little bit more safe. And then Velcro. And I'll talk about the Velcro here in a minute. But then in the long run, the other side is just huge, big-ass pockets, right? And they're tall enough to fit aerosol cans. Like, I think I've got, yeah. So, like, literally, like, and that was the big thing is that, well, this is what happens when you do it live, guys. This is what happens when you do it live. What's the third size of oil can, right? Because again, like I said, I majority ride 2-strokes. I keep my 2-stroke oil and mixer in there. So again, because I've done it, I've gone and tried to get gas and been an idiot and realized I forgot my oil. And now that it can just stay with it all the time, it's been super helpful. And then I also do a lot of nutrition, right? Like, so in the long run, like, I know if you want to use anything out there, I don't need to get into any of the supplements, but in the long run, I've carried at the Cajun Classic 100, I had one of the old prototypes on one can and this newer version on a can. And so I was able to have literally rice at some of the stops. I was able to have all my proteins, all my shakes and everything like that. So I could just whip it out, do it. I put a lot of extra water bottles so I could fill up. Again, it keeps me from relying on other people. Like, I love it that races want to be helpful and have these things, but there are just times where you get there and it's like, holy shit, like maybe all the water's gone or you can't find it fast enough or you come in late and you're looking to just really move fast and you can be very self-sufficient. Like, that's what I've always kind of wanted to be able to have. And this has allowed me to do that. You know what I mean? And I know not everybody's an enduro racer. And that's the thing. It's like, once I started using it more day-to-day riding, like weekend riding and not just racing, that's when I was really like, dude, this is bigger than just for enduro racers. So
yeah, absolutely. I think it's awesome. I think like for instance, this last weekend we were racing with Weeby Racing, and it's a hare scramble, right? And people were having trouble with goggles, trouble with gloves because there was like it was dry. Like generally, it was a dry situation, but there were like 4 or 6 mud crossings, right? Like you had to cross this little, I don't know, it's just a drainage where water goes, and people were getting stuff on their goggles, stuff on their hands, and then they coming into pits, right? And it would be so nice to have it organized and not just like you said in a little bag or on the ground next to it. You could self pit, or even if you got people to help you pit, it's nice to just like hand them that, right? Like you don't just you know, because for me right now, I don't have one of those. I'd have to go to my wife and my kids and be like, "Here's my goggles. Here's some water. Here's the thing." Like, and then you take this all over there. Instead, you take that, hand them the whole rig. Like, here you go, and just take that to the pits, and then everything's in there. So I think it's awesome.
And that's the and I get it. Like a lot of people will hang goggles on here and things like that, and that works. But the problem is that it works until it doesn't, and that's exactly what happened to me. I mean, I spent 35 plus year racing enduros, and what did we do? We duct tape shit to our bags. You know what I mean? And it worked literally until it didn't. And it's like one of those things where I always was like, this is precarious, but it's what we do. You know, and I never stepped back to be like, why do we do this? Well, the why is because we want to have stuff at the gas stop. So how can I make something that makes that easier for people and less of a worry? You know what I mean? Like, because that's also what happened is then I started worrying, oh shit, I'm putting this on there. What if it's not there? And then I'd start stuffing extra shit in my bag to plan for my stuff not being there. And it's like, okay, this is all broken. Like, how can I try to make that better? You know? Yeah. And so again, I hope that it sounds like people are starting to see the value and understand the concept and stuff like that. One of the things that has blown me away is how expensive the world is. Like you hear that, but until you go to make a product and then you see what it costs you to buy it, and then you start to figure out what it should cost, and then you start to look at the market you're in, and then you're like, oh my God, like this thing has to cost this much to make essentially what would become a viable business. You know what I mean? And then you're like, oh my God, like that's scary. Like that's more scary than saving a little bit of money to buy the first run to me. So it's weird. And it only like the can that you see here is the KTM Power Parts can, which is essentially the VP can, the stuff that Jegs makes. And there's a couple other ones. I have them on the website. The ones that I for sure have put the caddy on and know that it fits. But I do know that there are caddies utility cans, jugs, it does not fit. And one of them is like the LC2 and then the Jugger, which I think is the one that has that quick fill on the top. And the reason is because when people started moving the handles, like either to the corner or down below, while I was trying to prototype this, like there wasn't a quote unquote quick fix for that. And so I said, well, the cans I have are the majority of the cans on the market, the ones that I see the most of. And I do know why people are buying into the other ecosystem, because I do think that people have, again, put more thought into the idea of utility jug. So they've made the utility jug better with some of these other products. But I kind of was like, I think I'm going to go one direction right now and make this for these cans and see what happens. And the hope, right, is that I can, one, recoup my money, but then two, make enough to be able to get another order and then start to save from that to then either make a version 2.0 that potentially could fit more, or versions that can fit other types. And that's murky. Again, this is my first run at this, but that's where my head's at. So I do know that it's limited in some capacity for what it can fit. But I would imagine that if you wanted to leverage this and pick up a VP can to be able to have this, you know, for 30 to 40 bucks at your local dealer, and then buy the caddy, like I think that to me, it's worth it. Again, but it's like, one, I'm the product owner, so of course I'm going to say that. But two, I've been using the damn thing for a year and a half after that first 6 months of prototyping. So
yeah, I think so for sure. I'm actually considering getting a new can. I use the LC2 with the corner. It's really quick for pouring gas.
Yep.
It's super way more easy to pour gas with that can than the VP. But there's times where you need to pour gas quickly, right? Like there's if you're pitting for fuel in a hare scramble, crap, you got to pour gas fast.
Yeah.
But if you're at an enduro, you don't need to hurry, right? Like there's no hurry in pouring fuel. And then having the convenience of all that stuff there is huge. So I'm probably going to get a VP can, buy a caddy, and then that will be the like pit when I don't think I'm going to need gas pit, right? But it's still going to be fuel for the weekend, right? It'll still be, it still holds gas for the weekend because I've got 3 of us racing 2-strokes, burning a ton of gas. Like this last weekend, I needed a mortgage to buy the fuel for for all the gas that we burned. But so having another can, even though it's not my quick dump can, but then having the caddy on there to have everybody's goggles, because like with me, I could have 3 sides, right, or pockets. I could have the Morgan pocket, the Ewan pocket, and the Thomas pocket, and each one of those has Ewan's goggles, my goggles, and then that just goes to the pit area for the whole.
You just gave a great idea to kind of like, so like the front has the Velcro, right, for whatever. And I do have, I found some online labeling, Velcro labels that I can use that I've been using for like my row number or like, marking it as 50 to 1. I didn't realize I took it off when I grabbed it and brought it in here. But you gave me the idea that it's like, maybe we could put Velcro on the outside and use that same labeling system. So that way, if you're either kind of wanting to move a little bit faster and you just want to be like goggles, right? Whatever that labeling system is, that's where you write goggles. Or in your case, Morgan, Ewan, and you know what I mean? Like, I was like, oh, okay. So as you're saying that, I was like, that's an interesting idea to add just a little bit more capability to what's already there. Just again, for the concept of being organized and being able to move quick.
Well, and if you think about when, again, like most of us go, to the races with, wives, kids, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever. And like, I mean, my wife is very, very bright and, and she's been around dirt bikes now forever, but it would be sweet to hand her that thing. Like, okay, take this to the pits and have the thing say goggles. If it's just me, right? It says goggles, gloves, water, whatever, right, on each one. And so when you come sliding in, because in a hare scramble for us, it's like, I don't know if I'm gonna pit. I hopefully won't, hopefully things go well and I don't have to pit, but I come sliding in, I'm like, I need goggles. It would be so nice for that person to just look down and go, oh, goggles, rip that thing open and hand you goggles, right? So they don't have to have it in their hands. So I think that's not a bad idea. Just put maybe the next run gets Velcro on the tops of those flaps. And then you just put a patch on there.
Yeah, and then we're talking like I'm someone who doesn't want to not talk about his limitations. Do you know what I mean? And so we've already talked a little bit about the cans that it just doesn't fit. Now, one of the things too is like if you were to put a quick fill on this can, right? If you were to get that jugger one where you can flip it upside down and just on these utility cans, it will work, right? Because it has, I'm not going to flip it upside down because I don't want gas in my office just in case, right? But in the long run, the bottom, it's not an open bottom. It's a tight bottom. So you can strap this thing on there. Now,
I like tight bottoms.
But the majority of the quick fill cans that I see out there, right? Those are so much more tall and narrow, and that vent hose that they have at the bottom, so they can just, like it won't fit that either. And I understand that, but I have flipped this thing upside down with all of my crap in it, and the Velcro is big enough, right? Or sorry, strong enough, right? That you can flip it upside down with stuff in it. And I have not had anything fall out. And again, that's a little bit of an iteration because the first time we didn't make the pockets deep enough to fit aerosol. And then we didn't use a big enough piece of Velcro because as you stuff it more, the lip can kind of like close less. And so we needed to have like a bigger piece of Velcro so that as it like maybe closed all the way or like didn't, that it had a lot more area to purchase. So
gotcha. So I
saw it in there, and Bruce, I have to tell you, it's about 150 I need to sell to be able to have paid for the first run. But I say it would be about 135 to 140 if they were all at the retail price, but they're not. Because right now, like I do kind of have, because right now it's a pre-order, right? Like I'm making the purchase. The pre-order is not, I don't have to sell X amount in the pre-order to finish off the purchase. It's just to kind of help take some of the sting away from the initial hit, right? Kind of a thing. But once they come in from the manufacturer, which should be, they're already working on the order, should be late October to get shipped over here. Then the price will go, up to the retail price. Shipping's included in that. So if you were to grab a shirt with it, right, like you're going to see shipping tack on, but that's because of where the shirts come from versus like the caddy is going to be coming from my house. So I've built the price into that.
Real quick, Cycle Farm, I love it. This is like QVC. That is, we're doing like next. I'm going to show you.
Okay. Well, let's let Woody. Let's rein Woody in then a little bit.
It's all right though. I'm excited about it, and he said I'm just giving y'all a hard time. I'm excited about it, like on my own because you're my friend, and I'm excited to see people succeed, and it's really cool. But Ryan Stimac says,
I haven't succeed yet. The success is that I did it, right? Like
you're gonna succeed. It's gonna be good. I know you are. So Ryan Stimac says, what's the product called for 6500 tool-free compression adjust? I don't know what that's called, Ryan. I did have one in stock, and I installed it on the last 6500 kit that I did. I don't know what it's called, but just call Solid Performance in Pennsylvania and say, hey, I need the tool-free adjuster for my 6500 kit, and they'll ship it out. I wish I knew. I should know what it's called, but I don't. But they can take care of that. Let's see. Joe Foster, product launch talk is good. And I think actually we should talk a little bit about, I'm going to go back here because I had a couple other questions I want to make sure.
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't need to all be about me. I just appreciate you giving me a chance to kind of yap a little bit.
Yeah, you bet. Oh, someone asked me, the last one I remember seeing was asked me about MXTech suspension stuff. MXTech builds really, really cool stuff. I ran one of their Huck valves in a rear shock years ago. Unfortunately, that could not fix the 4CS forks that were on that bike because nothing fixes those forks other than taking it off and putting them in the trash and putting other forks on. So that bike, kind of like making the shock good, didn't really do much because the forks were so terrible. And no matter what we did, no matter who I used for valving, I actually didn't know TBT at the time. I sent it to like 2 different people, and they never got it right. So, and it wasn't their fault. Now that I know what I know about suspension, it wasn't their fault. They just sucked. What else was I going to say? So, yeah, but I've heard the National Shock, the MXTech National Shock, is supposedly just freaking brilliant. And I'm dying to get my hands on one. I don't have the money to just buy one right now, but I've heard they're very good. So anyway, MXTech is awesome. Tom the Battleaxe says they're so good. Yeah, I think they build very good stuff. Dalsaggio builds very good stuff. It's a piece of art, man. You pull the thing out of the box and it's gorgeous. The tolerances are perfect. Everything's perfect. No stiction. It's just amazing. And I know the MXTech is the same way. Ryan also asked, how was Weeby last weekend? Pretty cool course. Mini GNCC. Yes, it was awesome. It was crazy amount of turns in a tiny, tiny amount of area. It was 5 miles on 100 acres. So it's like, really fun.
Did you get dizzy?
I did not get dizzy, but I did lose my brakes, and so did everybody else on a KTM with Brembo Breaks. My kids are still giving me nonstop crap about my fancy, look at your little fancy bike with the no brakes. Because my kid Thomas, who was turning A times, because he's faster than crap, with his YZ with Nissan brakes, had no problems.
What is it about Brembo Breaks that cause the overheating more than others?
I wish I could tell you. I don't know. Maybe someone here knows the actual thing. My personal belief is that they're better. Like, so they clamp harder and earlier. And so if you drag them just a little bit, they heat up faster, I think. Oh. Right? But, yeah, anyway, I'm working on that. I did a bunch of work to this thing to try to hopefully get rid of that. And then I also, a buddy of mine, speaking of product launches, will hopefully be coming out with another like heat sink kind of thing to dissipate heat on Brembos, because it was a thing, man. Everybody was. I mean, one of the pros came in and just got a different bike. I don't think I think that's against the rules. Like, he came in and chucked his bike at his trailer, got another bike, and rode out to keep riding because it just was. Yeah. Bruce Kennedy says a lack of maintenance in my case. It very well could have been, because
he's working on everybody else's bike. That's his problem.
Yeah, exactly. The brake fluid. Again, the thing is, though, Bruce Kennedy says that, and I said that in my video, that it was probably my fault, at least partially, but I just don't remember if I've ever changed the brake fluid. I may have, I may not have. It's really hard to tell because I don't know. Who knows?
No one's paid you to do it, so you're not going to do it.
Right, exactly. The brakes are still working. And I should have bled it after I overheated it in the team race. That was actually probably the biggest mistake. Was I overheated it, faded it, boiled it. Like, they came back twice during the team race, and I know that means that fluid is compromised, and I should not use it. I should get that out of there and put fresh fluid in there. And I even had fluid, but again, busy doing things, talking to people, all that stuff. It didn't work. So hopefully we'll see. I'm going to build a turn track that will hopefully mimic that kind of thing. And we're going to go hammer down, with the new brake fluid and a new little reservoir guy and a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
Yeah. So it's good. Let's see. Tony Borian, 24XCW question. Installed a fan, plugged it into the OEM harness, and has never come on, even in Chundry slow Sergeant trails. Bike hasn't boiled running Evans. Should I be worried? No, Tony, I wouldn't be worried. It's cooled off, especially up where you are, and Sergeants. I mean, and Tony lives in Steamboat, so
I'm jealous of him being able to ride Sergeants all the time. Holy crap.
I know, and so it's I wouldn't worry, Tony, because I don't know. You can't change the temperature on those bikes, like on when they come on, if you plug it into that. Also, actually, Tony, you should think, because Zach has that same bike, and we did a fan on that. It's a extreme parts fan, but it plugs into the harness, right? Just like the other one with the relay, just like yours. And it only runs when the bike is actually running. Like, it won't, like, if you turn the bike off, it won't go bzzz for a little while and then turn off. It literally only runs while it's running. So you should maybe, if you want to test it, run that thing and, run it, get it really hot on the stand and see if you can hear it come on, because it's actually really hard to hear while the engine's running. But also, I wouldn't be worried. I mean, with Evans in there, you'd be good.
That's smart, though, that, like, so if the bike is not running, right, that maybe it's overheated, it won't turn on, so it just doesn't waste battery.
Right, yeah, that's the thing. That's why it's just set up to not kill the battery. The thing is, like, the way the KTMs are, though, they have been in the past. All the power stays on for just a few seconds and then it turns off. But I mean, it seems to work. Zach's it's come on for sure.
Cool.
Let's see a couple of questions here. The course was so tight on a 4T you didn't have to brake. Yeah, you just use the
engine braking.
And then Tom the Battle Axe, Motul 660 or Fade. I always use Motul 600 or 660. And again, I just don't know. I probably haven't changed it. It is now. It's got Motul in it now. But I watched guys fading brakes that I know for sure had stuff on it. It was so tight. And if you're a brake dragger, which I am, it was bad. And quick, cool story about, because people are talking about coming out with this parts and this thing for cooling and stuff like that. The coolest thing I ever saw, honestly, one of the coolest things I've ever seen on a factory bike. It was a factory XR650 down in Mexico at the 1000 in the Honda pits. I was fortunate enough to know Anna Cody and get to meet Johnny Campbell and Kendall Norman and all those guys. I look at the bike, and the XR650s that they raced look very stock. Like, the exhaust is obviously different, but nothing else is. The stock, stupid plastic skid plate, handguards, all that crap. I'm looking over the bike. It's super cool. And I look, and the rear brake caliper is a thinned billet aluminum one-off piece. And only on the 1X, not on the 5X, 10X, whatever the B teams was. I was like, and I'm like, hey, what the hell's that? To the mechanic, and he's like, oh, Johnny drags his brakes so bad, we could not find a way to keep the brakes cool for him during this race. We had to build him a caliper that was finned to move heat. I'm like, he's like, there's one of those on Earth. One.
That's crazy.
I'm like, dude, that's what you get when you work for Honda HRC. So
I see, Shimano. I think SRAM makes them too. Shimano makes finned brake pads, right? So you can buy ice brake pads, and so they have fins at the very top, right? So they stick out of the calipers. Like, has something like that been tried? Like, literally part of the brake pad?
So I've got one.
I've never seen it.
I've got one on the way. The first ones I've seen is so it's not excuse me, part of the pad, but it's the exact same shape of the pad and then sticks out the back. So you put it in between the piston and the pad. It's a thin piece of metal that then comes out and then has fins on it. And I ordered one from eBay when I got back to just try and see if it does anything. And it's like
I like how you spend money instead of changing your brake fluid first.
Oh, I changed the brake fluid also.
Okay.
Yeah, no. Yeah. But I want to, because I've boiled brakes even with Moto Mule 660. Someone's gonna say that's impossible, but I've done it. Like, it
goes so fast. He's got to slow down quickly, guys.
That's right.
That's what it is.
Let's see. Actually, this is a pretty good. So Bruce Kennedy says Caddy needs a pair of shoulder straps like a backpack for the Death March.
Listen, there are much more effective ways to carry gas on the Death March than strapping a 5-gallon jug to your back.
I think that needs to happen, though. Personally, I'm just saying. I think.
Listen, we all know how much it sucks when a little bit of gas spills on your junk. Okay, now we're strapping a 5-gallon thing to your back. Like, shit's gonna go south really quick.
But actually, shoulder straps are not a terrible idea as an option add-on for when the pits are a long way off or you got to carry it on your bike. Because, you're always carrying it like in the front of your...
Very awkwardly?
Yeah, very awkwardly, right on top of your junk. So, little backpack straps might be a little add-on. Like, that's a $20 option, man. And speaking of carrying gas on your back, I once had 2 gallons of gas in antifreeze cans on my back in Mexico because we knew that the gas station didn't have gas where we were going. And I spilled a lot of that down my back and had chemical burns down my back it was awesome.
A long time, I'm sure. I'm sure that you still have scars from that.
Yeah, it was not good. What other questions? We'll take one more question because we got to go. I know Woody's got to go here soon.
I gotta log on to work.
Works. Let me see if there's anything that I missed.
Yeah, the one thing, Joe, I saw that nobody swipes it. Man, I freaking hope not. You know what I mean? Like that, just and I get that mentality. And man, alive, and it happens. But it's dude, we are such a tight knit community that it's if you catch anybody doing that kind of crap, it's that person needs a serious talking to. I'm not saying get all negative and beat the shit out of anybody or something, but dude, we're so a tight knit community. It's if people are showing up and swiping, stuff like that when we're paying 12 grand for motorcycles and stuff, it's and we're all out there sweating and beating crazy together. That's shitty. And we that person needs to be called out and hopefully asked to not come back kind of a thing. Cause it's even that we would have to worry about that. That already says ugh, that sucks.
Yeah, that does suck. And I think I have a really hard time in my mind imagining an enduro where that would happen. That just doesn't, my brain doesn't get around that. I would worry more about at a moto track, when you're if you're by yourself, right? Because you put it in your bed of your truck and take off, or even at Peach Valley. We've had lots of people get stuff stolen. Not so much at Peach, but at Flat Top, the other parking lot for the same area, on the other end of the Adobes. People have gotten stuff stolen out of their trucks or out of their trailers if they left it open, which is just, I don't know, just drives me crazy. And I don't, those are, I'm sure those are not dirt bike people stealing that stuff. It's probably just people knowing that they can go to a parking lot, watch someone ride away on their dirt bike and do whatever they want. That's where I would like it. I would worry. I would not worry so much on at a race and enduro. I just can't imagine someone doing that. Let's see. Friend built a trailer for an XR6 or XR50. Oh, from an XR50, dude. There we go. So by the way, have you guys ever seen the Moto Mule? Have you seen that, Woody? By any chance? The
No,
Moto
it sounds
Mule?
familiar though.
It was a trailer for dirt bikes that had a shock on it. It was like one of those bob trailers for bicycles. So it was like just came out to a platform and then to a wheel. So it's just one wheel behind you, and it had a shock on it. And everything.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, dude, it was so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you need for the Death March, dude. So when my sure can't breaks again, we can just load that shit up, and you can ride me through, and that way
Or
I can
you can just sit on it like this. And like I can make you a little table, and you can make me burritos.
I'm in. Oh my god! Speaking of, if you guys enjoy batshit crazy stuff on the internet, you got to go watch Colin Furze' video because it reminded me. He took a Suzuki 750 or something and put a pizza oven on it, like cut it apart, built a pizza oven on it in a spot, and he has his buddy drive around town making pizzas and delivering them to people. Oh god, it just reminded me of me making you burritos. Like,
dude,
totally.
That guy is my hero, by the way. If you guys haven't checked out Colin Furze, you need to check out Colin Furze. Maybe someday, somehow, some way, I could collab with Colin Furze. That would be like the dream come true. But like, yeah, that video is phenomenal. Him making pizzas on the back of a bike, riding through town. And the best thing is it works. Like, it actually works, which is crazy. It was it was awesome.
That's what I love. It's like he's such a good engineer. Like, I don't care if he's got a team of 20 dudes behind him doing all the work. Like, it seems like he's the mastermind.
He's the only guy.
God, it's so good. Like, and that tunnel shit that he did, Liam and I were just ready for every tunnel video. We watched every minute of every tunnel video. Like, that dude's epic. I love him.
Dude, the amount of effort that went into that tunnel.
I know,
dude. It's ridiculous. Years of digging underneath his house. I can't. Anyway, we digress. Guys, we're gonna boogie.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for the time. And I saw, I really appreciate it. 2 orders came in. So, Kennedy and Brayman, man, thank you very much for supporting the idea. Morgan, thank you for allowing me to yap a little bit about it. I feel horrible doing it. It feels a little icky kind of a thing, but at the same time, it's helped me so much over the past year and a half that I've been using the product. I was like, I know it could be helpful for other people. So I kind of have to do the marketing part of it as well. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just part of it.
And keep writing. I love the thumbs. Like, give me more thumb. I need more thumb pictures sent to me.
Oh, I will. Okay. Actually, I've got a PNG of that. I'll send you, and you could we could make a patch with the thumb. There we go. Yeah.
I love bad ideas.
I got new patches coming. I'm going to send you one. I got new ones coming that you'll like. So,
well, I got a place to put them now, so I'm in.
It's awesome. Guys, we love you so much. Woody loves you. I love you. The world loves you. I want you to please get out, spread the gospel of 2 wheels, and as always, I desperately hope that what we are doing is inspiring you guys to work on, but way more importantly, get out and ride your dirt bikes!